do you ever find yourself reaching for chocolate or maybe a donut when you're feeling a bit down or a bit stressed? Well, today I'm delighted to be joined by Karen Langston, who's a certified holistic nutritionist, and she's going to be talking to us a little bit about why we do this and hopefully how we can stop doing this. Hi, Karen. Thanks again for joining us today.
Hey, Harriet. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be back again. This
Fantastic.
is awesome.
We're on a roll now. Today, I wanted to chat to you about emotional eating or comfort eating, as we come to call it over here. So basically, when we think of emotional comfort eating, we think about reaching for chocolate if we're feeling a little bit down or stressed. But there's an awful lot more to it than that, isn't there?
Sure. Well, there's a couple of things that are going on. We have the physiological aspects, hormonal changes, which is why I think more women go for comfort foods and those types of things because of those hormonal changes throughout the month. But we also have emotional baggage, if you will. I can't even think of a good word, but just the unconscious emotional cellular stuck stuff that we just haven't dealt with. And I think the best way that I can describe this as a somatic intuitive trainer is that throughout our lives we have traumas. And our traumas are unique to us. So what can cause trauma for one person would be different for another. And so what we find is that if we're in a traumatic situation, if we don't deal with it, we store it. And so what happens is when we get into a similar situation in the present moment, our body is like a data bank. And so the best example I can use so that I don't offend anybody is somebody who has pink hair. So you're 5 years old, you're playing in your sandbox, and along comes this girl who has bright pink hair, and she wants to play with your trucks. And of course you say no, to which it upsets her, and so she kicks you. And it's very, very painful, and it makes you cry. Flash forward 25 years later, you're sitting in an office, there's a new manager coming to town, and you can't wait to meet her. You know that it's a female. She rounds the corner and she has bright pink hair. Instantly, you don't like her, but you don't know why. And that's because the data bank went through and said, girl with pink hair, oh, when you were 5 years old, you associated pink hair with pain. And that made you angry, that made you upset, and so now you're in the present moment, and it's not even the same girl. It's somebody completely different. It's the trigger of the pink hair. But because we can't see the movie that happened when we were 5, we take what happened in the past and bring it into that present moment with that person or that trigger, if you will. So the same thing happens throughout the day. You know, we work with bosses or somebody upsets us, road rage, whatever it is. We're feeling lonely, we're feeling depressed, and we start to reach for the foods that will satiate those emotions that we either need to forget or want to remember. So comfort food is about feeling love and belonging and reassurance, right? And so there's a whole set of foods that goes with that. So we have our carbohydrates, we have our chocolates, we have our dairy, and those kinds of things.
Okay. So, but why is it that there are specific foods that fill those needs? So why sugar when we need love, for example?
Well, carbohydrates in particular are really about comfort foods, longing to belong, and just really wanting those types of hugs. But there's a couple of things that are going on. So let's just talk about the physiological for a moment. So let's say we didn't have a really good night's sleep, okay? So we wake up in the morning and we're feeling very, groggy and tired. And so our blood sugar definitely is low because it's supposed to be low in the morning. And so our body sends us little messages to say, hey, we need some food. Unfortunately, we are reaching for coffee, sugars, carbohydrates, our donuts, all those kinds of things in the morning. And so what it does is it just very quickly increases our serotonin. Serotonin is actually it wakes us up in the morning. It's our feel-good neurotransmitter, makes us feel peppy throughout the day. And so we get this short burst of serotonin. It alters our mood. We suddenly feel good. We feel positive. We feel on top of the world. However, it only lasts for a short period of time. The serotonin starts to drop. There's this hormonal change, and so it actually affects our melatonin as well. And so because of this hormonal change and our neurotransmitters dipping, our blood sugar starts to dip. And so then we have this hormonal change that tells us to say, hey, we need a pick-me-up. And so that pick-me-up again comes from the sugars or the coffees or those types of things. If we continue this cycle, it can actually become a permanent neurological change and acceptance, because our body is basically saying, oh, well, I don't really need to have to worry about creating serotonin because she's just going to bring it into the body anyway. But there's also the emotional side of it as well, right? We have the food craving, the emotional shift, then we have these negative thoughts. So all of a sudden our thoughts go from positive to negative, and it's things like, oh, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, she's always talking bad about me. And so it's these crazy thoughts that come in. Then you get the food craving, and then you have the emotional shift, you have the negative thoughts, and then you get the food craving, then you have the positive thoughts, you have the positive emotional shift, and then as you start to crash, it goes back into the negative. So your neurotransmitters just become out of whack, and then you start to deal with these, feeling blue or depressed, emotional issues, anxious, crabby, worry, sad, those kinds of things.
Right. So really, I mean, it runs very deep, this comfort eating or eating various foods for different emotions. It's a question. So is it a question that we all need to go and see a psychotherapist? Or is there a quicker fix for this? What should we be doing?
I think it's a combination of both. Okay. And I can say this personally because I've done a lot of emotional work on myself, and I've also changed my diet as well. And what I've found is that, of course, changing the diet is going to make a huge impact. Number one, when we're dealing with, a lot, just feeling blue, feeling sad, melancholy, there's probably mineral and B vitamin deficiencies. So you have to take a look at the food. What types of foods are you eating, right? And then you also have to look at digestion. How well are you digesting? Are you able to absorb these nutrients? Because these nutrients are actually used in the brain as well as the rest of the body. So if we have good nutrient content coming in and we're able to absorb it, then that's going to make us feel better. Like magnesium and zinc will give us energy. It's a very slow energy, but it literally can make you feel better. B vitamins, if you're low on energy, usually your B vitamins are low. That can make you feel better. But there's also that emotional component. Maybe you are disgruntled or just, haven't let things go from your past. And so what you're thinking in your head manifests in your body. And so if you're constantly thinking these negative things in your mind, that is alerting your central nervous system, and your central nervous system is your fight and flight. It's your response to stress. And when we're under a lot of stress, our adrenal glands are involved, and the adrenal glands also need a lot of nutrients, which happens to be magnesium and zinc and B vitamins. So you see how it sort of does play out. And I think everybody should just go and see a psychotherapist or, whoever it is you want to see, and just get rid of your crap.
No, I totally concur with that. But it seems like they're all interrelated, so that you've really got to sort out, your mind. And also there's a way of, if you do start to eat better, then hopefully that will kickstart yourself into having better emotions and to be calmer and more stable in that as well.
I love that, because usually you're right on track. So what happens is you start to eat better, you start to feel better. When you feel better, you become more conscious of your own interactions as well as the interactions of others. And that usually leads you to wanting a higher level of consciousness. And in order to do that, you suddenly turn to yourself and say, oh, I need to work on myself. There's some stuff going on in here and I need to deal with this. So it becomes this positive cycle that happens. But unfortunately, Harriet, what happens is most of us stay stuck because we don't know that the foods are dumbing us, is basically what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's critical, isn't it, the food that we eat, but I think there's not enough awareness about that, and clearly that's what we're trying to do here, to turn that around and get people to start eating more healthily, and hopefully that will impact on their life in a much bigger way than they thought possible.
Absolutely, and there's tons of studies that show junk food and behavioral issues with criminals as well as our students. There's many studies where they have taken the junk food out of schools that had a high level of behavioral issues, and within a couple of months, it was a complete turnaround.
There we go. We need to stop.
There's a connection.
Absolutely. And you need to think some schools even have vending machines with soda and all these things. It's just not the way to go, is it?
Yeah, we're just feeding this perpetual negative energy and negative thought patterns as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much, Carolus. Hopefully people will start to realise this and change their habits and feel a lot better for it.
Yes, I hope so too.
And before I let you go, Karen, where can people find out more about you?
They can find me at my website, which is my name, KarenLangston.com, Langston.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us again today, and I hope it doesn't get too hot out there in Arizona. It's looking hot there.
It's starting to get hot. Yeah, it's time to go in, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you, Harry.
Okay.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you so much. See you again soon, I hope.
Yes, absolutely. See ya.
Bye. Fantastic. Now that was Karen Langston talking to us today from sunny Phoenix, Arizona in the United States. And if you've got any more questions about nutrition or anything else to do with your well-being, please get in touch. Harriet, HARRIETT, at wellbeingexaminer.com. And in the meantime, please stay happy, healthy, single mums.